For video 3 of this series, I'm going to go ahead and add some of the additional pieces of tubing here. Let's start by adding, and again, I apologize, I didn't save my parts using numbers, so that's a no-no. Make sure you save your parts using numbers. So I've got this brace that I created and notched, very simple part. Gotta get it, oh, wait a minute. There we go. When I get the notch oriented properly, it's going to be a brace for the frame here. So as a simple part, it's just an extrusion, and I notched the two ends of the part. Now I want to mate it to the frame. So the easiest way to do that is use your work planes. Now I can certainly use surfaces, but be careful because I've warned you about this before when you go to mate. If all the dimensions aren't perfect, you may get an error, but if you use the mid plane, so for example, if I tried to mate both of these surfaces to the two pieces of tubing, I may get an error, but if I made it to the mid plane, then I don't have any problem. So all I have right now is it's mated to that one tube like that, right? So it can be anywhere. Let's do the mid, where's that part brace? Let me turn on some planes there. There's a mid plane. Again, notice how I extruded this was about the mid plane. And I will also need that vertical plane right there. So let's start by mating. If you can even see, I got that weird position from that plane to that plane. Should be good. And now it's good in position that way, but I do need to locate it, like where is it supposed to be front to back. So in order to do that, I'm going to need some other plane, and let's use the planes on this tube here. Let's see, I need to find it. There we go, that front one, I'll turn that on. So what I'm going to need to do is, I've seen this before, from this plane, I'm going to do an offset. Now decide where you want this brace to be. And again, you can always change that. So let's say I want it to be 20 inches. Let's make it 22. I decide I want to make there. So there's my plane. All I have to do is then mate that plane. Come on. There we go. To that plane. Now that's firmly mated. It can't go anywhere. And once again, if you decide you want to change that, all you got to do is come down here, right click, edit the feature. Where we had 22, you could make it 23. And if you want to force the update, just come up to the top and do rebuild, and you can see it move, right? So that's good for there. I did have, let's say I've got this back piece. Please don't copy this design. This is just something random I came up with, but I have another tube here. But remember, you can't bend, like I can't bend this whole like rectangular thing in one bend anyway. So it's going to have to be two pieces. So I just made it two pieces that are exactly the same. I got terrible names for these. Bear with me there. Let's see. Let's get this guy. So that's what I want. This one should be pretty easy to mate. I'm going to do the end. To the end. Say okay there. And I can do that surface to that surface. And now it's not constrained fully, because see, it can still do that. Now here's where, let's see what happens. If we try to mate this tube to this tube, if the dimensions are perfect, you should have no problem, right? But if it's off by any amount, you'll get an error, so we're good there. Okay, so that's sort of like the engine cradle. I do have a motor plate that I'm going to put on there. No, there it is, engine plate. I still haven't got it. X, keep going. There we go. Okay, so that's how that's going to sit on there. So that's slotted to allow the motor to slide back and forth so we can keep the chain tight. Now here's where you have to decide, do you want this to be mated to the top of the tube? If you do, you're going to have to make sure you got enough material, but you would put a work plane on the top of the tube and mate that down to that. I'm going to put it in the center just to show you how that's done. Maybe it doesn't actually work once you start to put the motor on, but that's okay. That's just, again, just remember this is a demo. So, and same thing with my motor plate. When I created this motor plate, the plane is right there. That's actually a mid plane. So you could do it on the top or bottom surface. It's really up to you. So I do want also that one, and I want that one, because I gotta mate this thing in all directions. So that means I need also a plane. I do have a lot of planes turned on here. Let's see, what do I have? Oh, this isn't over. Okay, so I need an offset plane from there. Hopefully this makes sense once you see it in action. So let's take that plane. Let's do an offset. Oh no, that's the right direction, just wrong distance. I don't remember what this, wow, that was a lucky guess. Okay, I have everything I need to mate this now. So let's mate that mid plane to that mid plane. Again, this may not, oops, didn't take for some reason. I don't really like what that just did. Let me try over. This may not work for your geometry, so I'm just giving you an example here to go by. I honestly think you're smarter if you put it on the top, but I didn't make my plate long enough to do that. So that's that one. Looks kind of ugly, but I think we'll be okay. And then I want that, oops, that mid plane to that one. My computer is super slow for some reason. Did that mate? Did not mate. That plane. There we go, okay. And all I need is, I need side to side. So I'm gonna need another plane to go by. So where's that tube right there? That's what I need right there. Okay, so now let's mate that to that. Give it a second. It's gonna make it, I'm sure. I have too much stuff open on my computer, I think. Well, it never made it over there. Let's try that again. There we go. Shouldn't take that long. So I don't know what the thing's going on. Okay, so I'm done with that. Now you can always go through here too and just hide planes if it's easier. Anything that's blue, you can turn it off. They do make you crazy after a while if you have all these planes turned on. But same time, add as many planes, as many axes as you need to get the job done, right? Oops, I may need that one. Okay, the other thing I want to show you is, oh, maybe just a couple more simple pieces. So I needed some places to mount your front wheel spindles. So I made these little stub tubes. There we go. Okay, so I want to make sure that there'll be one on this side, there'll be one on the other side. So those are easy enough. Again, I just did an extrusion and then I did a notch. Let's just mate that surface to that surface right there. Now I will need to control, obviously it's not well mated yet. But again, easy enough. Let's see on that one. I'm going to need some. See, I mean, I turned all those planes off, but here I am turning them right back on. That's just how this works. Okay, so for example, I can then mate that mid plane there to that mid plane. I think I accidentally clicked the tube. Let's try it again. That plane. There we go. To that plane. And now I'm going to have to locate it. Where do I actually want that axle? So once again, I may already have a plane I can use, but let's just make a new one. So take that. Oops, wrong one. There we go, on the wrong side. Did I get it? Okay, just offset that and let's make that like 3 inches or so. Nope, not. You can't mate it right there at that bend. That's not going to happen. I do want to get it kind of close to the front. Let's try that. Again, all this is editable as you go along. So then I'll mate that plane to that plane. I clicked too many times. I saw that when it was happening. Okay. I think I got impatient. There we go. That should be, yeah, we're good. And that's where my front spindles are going to ultimately end up being mounted. Do the exact same thing on that side. So there I have a demonstration of several different techniques, rotating a tube that way, creating notches on angles, mating things on angles, mating a plate to a tube. And there's lots of different ways to do this, but this is actually a good way to do it. Now, along the way, what I've done is I've created part models of each of these components that need to be manufactured, which I can then put on the drawing sheets, and those will create my detailed drawing. So once you've done this, you have not only do you have your assembly, but you also have all the parts model. So that's the process I would suggest you use. Again, please don't copy this. This is not a great design. You can use some of these concepts, but this whole engine thing is stupid. I just did that to show you some different techniques. I would definitely not use that method to do it. For one thing, it's too wide. It doesn't make any sense to make the back that wide. And all these dimensions I just kind of made up. So you're going to have to find what works. You're really going to tell when you start to put the components in. So when I go to put the engine on here, for example, where's my motor? I'm sure the software is going to love me for that. Let's see. So and it's backwards though. There we go, that's right. Okay, so when I go to put my motor in here, I'm going to find out, do I have enough room Oops, I just wanted to move that. Do I have enough room in here for this to sit and not hit the roll bar and not be jabbing into the driver's back? It's not overhanging too much. And then you can decide to make some changes. You know, I can make this, clearly this back is way too wide. It's stupid to have all that. It's just going to take up space. It looks like I got good clearance here for the seat. I could probably make this a little more compact. And if you can make the back compact, you can stretch out the front because you're really struggling for space for the rider, quite honestly. So don't make the back end too long. You'd rather have that space up at the front, but at the same time, that can't be hitting the seat or something like that. So hopefully that helps. Again, I really wanted to demonstrate some techniques in the process of creating this assembly more than giving you an exact pattern to copy.